Hello, I'm Anticio Duke. Thank you for stopping by. High-res images, we all need them, we all love them, but they can pose a problem as far as loading speed on your website or mobile app. Let's talk about ways to go about compressing them without losing quality. If that's your jam like that is mine, let's do this. Hello. Yes, welcome back. Thanks for joining the fun. So high-res images. Yes. I love them. You love them. We appreciate them. Oh my goodness. Yes. I can go on and on about the pros of having those high quality assets. But there are some challenges that we will talk through today about having them. Consider subscribing, because on this channel, we talk about design, apps, strategy, life stuff, and more. So it'll help me out just like it will you and growing the community. So thank you very much in advance for your participation. Our mobile devices, our tablets, our DSLRs, all of the pieces of equipment that we use today can capture a wide range of images. And these are high density, detailed images that have a crazy amount of file size. Now, when you're using those on websites or your mobile apps, they look great on the screen. They do, and we really want that richness and detail. But they can actually pose a problem to your load speed. Having a large, massive sized image could actually pose a problem because you're forcing the system to showcase all the detail in that image. And that may not be necessary. By impacting your load speed, that actually affects your user experience. It takes up to a minute to load. Some people's attention span is like this. They'll do away with your website because they feel like something is wrong. We want to avoid that. Additionally, it may affect some of the interactions that are on the website. When you have large size files, it takes up a lot more speed and space. If you have these micro interactions that you really want to allow the user to have, whether it's feedback, whether it's something to notify the user that some action has been taken, that can impact it as well. After building so many websites and apps, I've done several different techniques to try to minimize the large file size without compression to the image. One particular app that I love using is called TinyPNG. What this app does is create lossless compression, meaning you can upload high-res images so that it can compress it to a smaller size without losing its detail. I'll show you a few tips on how I would go about compressing it as a designer, and this is kind of used in my everyday workflow to kind of give you some insight into what I do, but feel free to take that as you wish. There are other software packages, there's other approaches to do it. This is just one that works for me. So here's a quick example of how I use TinyPNG to compress some of my image files. Again, the website, TinyPNG. And what I do is export any UI files or images from, let's say, Figma, which is my tool of choice as of late, and save it to my computer. Select here or drag and drop. I actually select that particular file, and what it does is run through this compression so that it takes the quality, compresses it into a smaller file without losing the quality. So as you can see, we reduced it down to X percentage. So huge saving and a huge advantage and keeping the quality. That's most important as of late. You can also do it in an API style where you integrate this into your tech stack, and all of your thumbnails, maybe blog images, stuff like that can get that same sort of compression without losing the quality. What I do is download this into my InVision. Boom, you see it uploading. I'm just uploading it over something else, and you can kind of see this. I'm not losing any quality here, and that's huge. That's a huge advantage for using that particular app. So again, TinyPNG, super useful, super easy. Enjoy. Keep in mind when you're working on a product team, there are other development tools that developers may actually use to do this as well. There are front-end frameworks that can offer the same sort of compression without the limitation of decreasing the quality. So here's some tips that you might actually adopt into your workflow to help you not lose the quality, but still gain much more from a smaller file size. 1, you want to try to compress it yourself without losing that image quality. There are tools, like I mentioned, TinyPNG is my go-to. There are others out on the market that you can use. Some are free of charge, some may cost a little bit, but it would actually work wonders. Also, if you have software programs like Photoshop or Illustrator, sometimes Affinity Designer, softwares can offer export functions where you can change your settings so that you can compress that file or make the file smaller in size. That way it's used across multiple platforms or multiple projects. Another tip I suggest is actually asking your developer how they would do it. SVG, oh my goodness. They have tools and frameworks that they may use for different projects that compress those sizes as well. And this will help them utilize them in asset management and uploading them to the website so that they render properly. The last tip I suggest is try to minimize your use of large asset files. I'm not saying do away with them, but if your card design has a little bit more text than it does imagery, great. You might be able to scale that image size down to keep the quality and maybe bring more content to the surface. Or instead of having a major hero image when it's not needed, to adding a form or widget or some kind of interactive feature on that hero side so that you're not taking up major real estate space on the website if you don't need to. So there are a few ways that you can go about compressing that image size without losing the quality. Well, that's all we have today, folks, around image compression and the quality and all of that jazz to help you design better products. If you feel like you've gained some value from this video, feel free to give it a like. I appreciate that. Share it with someone else who you know can gain something from everything we talked about here today. And consider subscribing as we continue to try to make videos that talk about apps, design, life, strategy, and more. As always, your life has color, so be sure to design it that way. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Was it SVG? Oh my God. SVG, OMG.